What is going on, fitness coaches? Welcome to another episode of the Change Lives, Make Money on the Training podcast. It's your boy, Brian Markin. In today's episode, I'm joined by one of the PT Domination OGs. And when I say OGs, this man came into PT Domination back in 2021 when we were first getting started. All right, now Chad joined the mastermind. And at the time, my highest earning client was making $40,000 a month. And this client had almost 1 million followers. So when Chad came in and Chad just literally did everything we told him to do and then above and beyond, he ended up hitting 40K a month in his first 2 months in the program. And he had like 10,000 followers at the time. And that just set the tone for the remainder of the students. And from that point, once people realized what Chad was doing, then we got Don Lamb came along, and Don Lamb was like, okay, if Chad can do it, I can do it. And then it just snowballed. And now you guys see, we've got 19 students over $100,000 a month. And a lot of that started with this man right here. So without further ado, the man who started Beyond Built, Mr. Chad Morgan. What's up, G?
I absolutely love being here. We're on the Change Lives, Make Money podcast, baby.
Yes.
That's exactly what we're going to talk about, too.
I know. We're talking about changing lives and making money. So I think for my podcast audience, bro, I would love to know, like, a lot of the people that are new in my audience have no idea who you are. So I'd love to know, what is Beyond Built? What are you doing over there? Like, are you just doing fitness coaching? Like, tell me about your company.
Yeah, so Beyond Built started officially in 2020. 2 years before that, I started an LLC called Chad Morgan Fitness. 2 years into it, I had realized that I wanted it to be a lot bigger than just me, and I wanted to build a community around with it. If anything, community is what changed my life. More than anything, just getting around people that echoed my goals, actually listened to my goals, didn't make me feel crazy about having the goals that I did, and were actually like walking the walk and doing the things that I wanted to do. And I was like, holy shit. I need to get myself out there. I need to get myself around these kinds of people. I need to network. And so really that's what Beyond Built became. And that's what the vision was. And that's what it adopted into. To this day, we're serving over 100 clients. We've kept our community over 100 clients here for the last 5 years since joining PT Dom. We've hosted 12 live events now at Beyond Built because a huge core contributor to what drives our community, keeps it alive, keeps it going, are the in-person events, because we have the opportunity to bring people from around the world together to meet in person for the first time and all of a sudden feel like, holy shit, outside of my hometown, outside of my present environment, there's some go-getters out there that can really teach me a lot about what I'm not really reaching in my life potential-wise. And that's what gets me going, man. So our mantra is creating a transformation that is more than just physical. What we specialize in is creating very high level transformations. We see people come in with lifestyle goals and end up getting on stage 2 years later. And it's not their original intention, but we tell everybody, hey, no matter what, we want you to look like that person that everybody goes up to in the gym is like, hey, do you compete? Because you are treating yourself like an athlete. You're training like an athlete. You're eating like an athlete, and you're living that lifestyle. And we're here to show you that, hey, no matter where you are, no matter your walk of life, no matter your starting point, you can live this life and you can look this way and you can look the part and feel the part. So that's what we do. And it's been really cool to challenge people mentally, physically to that extent and see what that does for their relationships, for their businesses, for their clients, if they're coaching clients. And that's why I love what I fucking do so much, man.
Dude, I love it. So like, I want to touch on something, and I think this would be a really good conversation for the podcast, is like, you started out an LLC as Chad Morgan Fit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you started a business called Beyond Built. What made you decide to transition from like, I'm like B Mark Fit or Chad Morgan Fit to Beyond Built? Like, why did you build a brand versus building Chad Morgan Fit, which I'm sure you could have been really successful with?
Yeah. So I really wanted to adopt a mindset into the company and into the clients. And I wanted people to come in and feel that they were part of something bigger, but also that everything that they were doing was representing something. And so I hear clients that tell me it's like, I am Beyond Built, because it does make sense. In a full sentence, that makes sense. It's like, beyond the gym, who are you becoming? Beyond the gym, what are you accomplishing? And when I started Chad Morgan Fitness, I was still in college and I was doing this shit on my dorm room. And then when Beyond Built came about, I decided to drop out of college. I decided to move across the country to Houston, Texas. I decided to get myself involved with a new community, make myself really uncomfortable. Then all of a sudden I was like, holy shit, fitness has been the gateway for me to transform my mindset and transform my life. And fitness has been the gateway to give me the courage to step way outside of my comfort zone and do shit that's unthinkable. And I want people to come into this program feeling like they can do the same. Like, if Chad can do it, I can do it. And so when people come in and they set the intention to create a transformation that is more than just physical, and they set the intention to create a transformation that is beyond built by definition, it's a different feeling. It's a different goal. It's a different commitment level that people come into rather than being like, I'm part of Chad Morgan Fitness. Like, no, you're not. You're part of Beyond Built. You're part of a team, and you're going to be held accountable by what this brand is about and what we represent. And if you can't live up to that standard, then you're just not going to be for us.
So it became more of like what I'm hearing is it's like an identity that people can associate with.
100%. I think I'm really, really inspired by just some of the best brands out there and the meaning and the feeling that you get by wearing the brand or being part of the brand. Like at that time, I was really obsessed with Alphalete. And for me, wearing that clothing made me feel different. It made me feel like I was standing out. It made me feel like I was part of a community and part of something that was kind of unique in a sense that not a lot of people knew about. And the clothing had a representation with it when I wore it. It wasn't just cool clothing. It made me feel a certain way. And I look at different brands that do that best. I think Nike does that really well. You know, when you wear something with Nike, you think about LeBron James, you think about Ronaldo. Like you look at ASRV and you look at their marketing and how amazing it is, but you can see how there's athletes training hard in the rain and saying things that are inspiring about their mindset, relentless pursuit. When you wear the clothing, it represents that like, hey, I'm an athlete. And so to me, some of the best brands in the world strike a feeling for their consumers. And I think that's really, really important when it comes to building anything of your own.
Yeah. So when I'm like, now we're working with like 1,800 online coaches, and you have a business model that I actually don't recommend as much anymore. And I'll tell you why, because in order for Chad's business to be successful, like you really need to have a very strong brand. And so like the two strongest brands that I believe that I'm currently working with are, well, I'm not working with you anymore, but we worked together for a long time, is Beyond Built and DIY.
Yeah.
Beyond Built and DIY Body. And like when you think about like Beyond Built, it's like there's like this, I do agree, there's like this feeling that comes with it. And like the feeling I get when I look at your guys' brand is community. Like I feel like I'm a part of something. Whereas like when they're like different brands are going to have different feelings, right? When I look at Don Lamb, like the word that comes to mind is excellence, right?
Yeah.
People go to Don Lamb because they absolutely know, like if I'm, in Don Lamb's like ecosystem, I'm like forcing myself to be excellent. And when I see your community, I see your community as something that's like, I don't really think anybody's ever been able to replicate it, although I'm sure a lot of people have tried. Even the way that you guys do your events, like I've told you this many times, like the only reason we started throwing PT Domination events were because of you guys. Like you had been throwing like event. And after your fourth event, I literally called Cole and I'm like, we need to step this up, bro. Like our clients are doing better than us right now. So like, this is a problem. All right. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your community, because with the way that you guys run your container, because correct me if I'm wrong, but you have, how many coaches are on your team right now? It's you, Caroline, and RJ, right?
Yeah, that's it.
You, Caroline, and RJ. And I know that you are looking to expand. So you want to touch on that for a sec?
Yeah, we're looking to add the next coach at Beyond Built, someone who's really, 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 willing to pour into the community and be a leader in the community and really use their voice inside of that community and connect with the clients. I think the cool part about what we do is that everybody has a little bit of a relationship with me, or a little bit of a relationship with RJ, or a little bit of a relationship with Caroline. Obviously, they're going to have their closest relationship with their one-on-one coach, but it's very important for all of our coaches to come in and bring their values and bring their stories and bring their experiences into the community to teach and help our clients all excel together. So we're looking for someone to step up, be a great leader in the community, and find a lot of fulfillment in that. Because more than anything in the world, like we're firm believers that like fulfillment's everything. And when you get to look at your story and you get to look at your experiences, look at your progress and take the many lessons, take the many failures and pour that into a group of people to see them go and change their lives and contribute at a very high level. That's everything. At the end of the day, like that's the feeling that we're all after here at Beyond Built. And so we want to give that experience to the next coach here to help our community expand and help our community become even better. So
I love that. So with your community, you guys have sold out 12 in-person events. And I believe you just told me you just sold out your most recent one as well. Can you talk a little bit about the in-person events and like what that really does for Beyond Built? Because I've seen the impact of them. I've followed the Instagram, like I've seen all the videos. And I think that somebody listening to this podcast, like the biggest thing that people, if you're listening to this right now and you're considering, okay, like would I ever want to start my own business, or do I want to work on somebody's team that has an established business? Can you talk to me a little bit about your community and what does your community mean to you? And like, what do those events do?
Community is my fucking baby, man. You ask me what it means to me. It's like, it's my family. Like it's genuinely my family. I'm someone that has like very, very strong familial values. I'm very, very, very connected to, my family over in the Philippines. I'm actually going to get married there next year for that reason. And so family's also been something that's been pretty distant in that regard, because I do have family that's overseas and stuff. And so coming into Beyond Built, like I've literally just made this my family. And so they feel that way too. They experience that. And I think a lot of people come in and they're maybe at first intimidated by the community, as they should be. Like, I get it. You see people in here that are crushing it, sending their training selfies, sending their videos of them training super hard, like sending their wins. And it's like, man, do I even belong in this container? And that question right there, do I even belong, is a question that I ask myself my entire life.
Mm.
And so it's really, 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 really cool to be able to see somebody mirror a past version of yourself and be like, this person feels like they don't fit in right now, but let's help them see something in themselves that they don't already see.
Mm.
And not only from coach to client, but our clients help our other clients tap into that,
Mm.
right? Because you have two options inside the community and inside the container. You can either compare yourself and dwell and be like, I could never be this way, or you could draw inspiration and draw admiration from it and actually look to build relationships with people that are going to push you and are maybe mirroring something that's deep down within you that you don't quite believe in yet. But when you see it enough times, and you see people create success enough around you, you're going to want to join them. And so with the in-person events, like that's really the marketing, if you will. That's really what people come into these honestly searching for, is it's like, all right, all I know right now is my life at home. All I know is the life that I've been living. Let's go out there and get around other entrepreneurs. Let's go out there and get around other goal-driven people. Let's get out there and network and build some relationships with people that I haven't been used to building relationships with. And when we get really, really comfortable in our own ecosystem and our own environment, we kind of forget what else more is out there. And what's really, really special is being able to see people connect over each other's stories. It's like, hey, this is my story. This is what I've gone through. And I'm like, oh my God, I relate. I resonate. Here's my story. Then all of a sudden you feel like there's this big level of appreciation for how other people see you. And a lot of people walk through life, man, and they don't feel like they fit in. They don't feel like they have a lot of confidence. They don't feel like they have a lot of security in themselves. They don't feel like they can go out and accomplish the big dream because they don't maybe feel recognized. They don't maybe feel appreciated. And so when you get around a community that appreciates you and is willing to listen to you and willing to hear you out, and also like we do award ceremonies. So like when you get awarded and you actually get recognized for your hard work, that changes everything. I'm a firm believer that accomplishment goes a long fucking way. Like you have to accomplish things and you have to complete milestones to go ahead and look back and be like, yo, I fucking did that. And here's how I did it, because I became this person throughout the process to get there. And you had to be able to recognize yourself and really, really, really latch on to your strengths to give yourself the confidence to keep going in life. A lot of people don't even know what that looks like, but a lot of people need to get around other people that do know what that looks like and build relationships with them to help them tap into that themselves. And so that's like the big, big, big driver of our community. And that's why our events are honestly so successful and why people keep coming back to them 4 or 5 years in a row.
Yeah, dude, I fucking love that. I also think that like something else I just wanted to touch on is I think people underestimate what it actually takes to build what you've built, and people underestimate what it takes to build what we've built at PT Domination, and the amount of the amount of sacrifice that you have to make in order to get to that level, the amount of, friends that you have to cut out to get to that level, the amount of people that you have to remove from your life because they're no longer serving the vision that you need to get to that level, the amount of personal development yourself and like facing your own demons and like facing your own insecurities to get to that level, the amount of like protecting the community at all costs and making sure that like you're always putting the needs of the community above the needs of yourself, and like the amount of work, the amount of like tireless hours or like sleepless nights that you put in thinking about how to grow this thing and like make it take the next level. Like people just underestimate what it actually takes to build a community where like that is possible. And I think that everybody dreams about it, right? Like I think that like when we become online fitness coaches, I think that if you're listening to this right now, it's likely that you wish that you could have a community of people that you could inspire, that look up to you, that like see you as a leader, that see you as like somebody that's actually changing their life. And I know the reason I'm saying this is because like, I know that there's somebody listening to this podcast episode right now that, there's two types of people, right? Way number one is you can start your own business and you can venture in and you can do your own thing. And like, if you're one of those people that is like a leader that thinks that you can do this 100%, and you're willing to take the weight of the responsibility that comes with building a community, then do it. There's also people listening to this podcast that I think could make a massive impact on people's lives by joining somebody else's team and like understanding that like the weight and the pressure and the stress and the overwhelm and the anxiety and the fear that comes with like doing everything all yourself, like instantly that's relieved when you join somebody else's team that is doing what you want to do so that you can look up to them as a leader and they can support you and they can help you. There's literally one of our clients right now that's listening to this podcast. Her name's Pam Campbell, and she took that advice to heart. And she's on a team right now. And she was actually building her own business for a long time. And then, since she's joined the team, she just thrived because now she's in an ecosystem where other people are like helping her and supporting her. And when she's struggling, she can reach out. And it's like, now she doesn't have to go through this thing on her own. She has somebody to support. So I know that there's somebody listening to this podcast right now that should reach out to Chad Morgan Fit if you have dreams, goals, and aspirations of like making a big impact, but you're also at the very same time, like afraid of all of the work that comes with it. And you don't know if you can do it on your own. So you'd rather do it with the team that support, because like, this is the thing, right? The thing about, and this is, I really want to stick with this for 1 second because I'm a big believer in entrepreneurship. Okay. I'm a big believer. And like, I'm a big believer that like having your own business is fucking dope. And I think that's why people want to get into it in the first place is they're like, fuck the man. That's how I was. And I also think that when it comes to joining somebody else's team, and there's some people listening to this podcast that should reach out and join somebody else's team. Joining somebody else's team that's already proven that they're successful, instantly you get that credibility. And so the fact that Chad's been building this business since 2020, and all of a sudden you join his team, and as soon as you join his team, and now you are a Beyond Built coach, it's like all of the work that Chad put in to building his business for 5 years, instantly you get to put the stamp of approval on your brand. Like, hey, I'm backed by this brand that's been around for this time. And it's like, it's the same thing with like an alpha elite athlete, right? Somebody's growing their Instagram, bam, they become an alpha elite athlete. And everyone's like, whoa, what the fuck, right? They didn't change anything. The only thing that changed is the association with the brand.
Mm-hmm. You bring something up that I want to speak to a little bit. You mentioned that like everybody has this dream in the sense it's like, oh, like, I'm sure if you're listening right now, you could dream of having something like this. I think I don't really resonate with this, but I do believe there's people out there that say that they want things when it's not actually what they want.
Mm.
And that's actually one of their biggest bottlenecks, in the sense that when you talked about the sleepless nights and the sheer amount of volume, I don't associate that with sacrifice, my guy. Like, I don't associate that with pain. I don't associate that with anything but fucking glory and like love, genuine fucking love. That's what I associate that with. When you talked about that stuff, I'm like, man, I love that. And I think it's because genuinely I've made the micro accomplishments just as important, if not more important than the macro. In the sense to where signing up a client brings me the same feeling as selling out an event. Like, I really, really, really want to tap into that because everything matters that much when you love the game that much. Like a simple DM conversation where someone opens up to me and talks about their struggles, and I send them a voice memo back where I hear them out and I ask them a couple questions and they open up more. That gets me going the same way a client texts me and goes, yo, I'm down 30 pounds. It's a genuine love for everything that goes into the micro. Like right now on this podcast, I'm so deeply in love with being here. I don't think you understand, because I just love being able to pour everything I can into somebody. It's like yesterday, 6.5 hours in a content studio, probably 40 plus, 50 plus reels banged out. That I love more than buying my dream car when I bought it. More, if not the same. To be honest, because like everything matters and every little micro accomplishment matters. And if you fall in love with the work at that level, you'll take this wherever the fuck you want it to go. You'll take it wherever it is you want to go. You and I were talking, we were training, and I said, hey, anything more at this point is just for fun. I'm good because I love the game so much. I'm good here. Anything more is literally just for fun. It's not insane amount of pressure. To me, it's not sacrifice. To me, it's not pain. It's just like, cool, I get to accomplish the next thing. I get to show little insecure Chad that like, dude, you're really cool. You're really cool, homie. Look at this shit. Look at this shit that we're doing. And so I really think that a lot of people say that they want this big, grand life and this big, grand business, but you're not in love with the micro actions. So like, no, you don't. If you fucking loved it, you'd be in love with the micro actions.
There's a lot of wisdom there. But it's for real though. There is. And I think that to get yourself to a place where you genuinely love all of the work that goes like into it is like that there's a lot of fucking personal development there. There is. Because I'm thinking about like people that like in my DMs that like struggle with content. They don't even like posting content, or they don't like sending DMs, or they don't like talking to prospects, or they don't like getting on calls with people that aren't for sure going to buy. It's like, I fucking agree. Like when I think about like people, like I do 5 podcast episodes a week, every week. You know, I've done that for the last fucking 6 years, 7 years, 1,250 podcast episodes. You don't do that without like a genuine love for it. And I think that when I think about like the way that I love what I do, because I'm just reflecting based off of what you said, I think that there's like, for me, it's like an everlasting love. And what that means is that there's days, it's kind of like in any relationship, right? Even with your brother, there's going to be days where you're like, hey, fuck you, but I love you. And there's also going to be days where like, I love you. But like, regardless, it's like, it's never done. Like for me, it's never done from a place of like, oh, I must do this. I must. It's like, okay, I'm doing this because I love this thing that I do so fucking much that like, it's not, I agree. It's not work for me. It's like, it's fun. It's like, it's exciting. Like I post 6 times a day. It's fun. I like doing that. And I think that like full transparency, I think that is what people strive for. And I think that's a difficult mindset for a lot of people to get into. But I also think that that's why people need to be around other people that believe that, because you genuinely believe that. Like I can feel it in your fucking bones. I genuinely believe that. And I think that's why people follow me on Instagram. I think that's why people follow you. I think that's why people sign up for your program. I think that's why people work with you at Beyond Built, because they know that being around you is going to make the work more enjoyable because you genuinely believe what you're saying.
I love, we're getting deep now. We're getting deep now.
That's what she said. Let's go deeper.
When you talk about belief as a whole, the reality is I think people's limiting beliefs, they let them speak way louder than they actually need them to speak. Because in the way of deeply, deeply, deeply loving what you do and deeply, deeply loving as a whole, what gets in the way? Fear of what?
100%.
Rejection.
100%.
People, someone saying no to you on a sales call. Fear of judgment. Someone judging your piece of content. And so you'll sit here and you won't take action on things, and you won't get to the point to where you get to be so deeply in love with things because you let your fears talk louder than what you want. You let your fears talk louder than everything. And I think a lot of this is building a completely and entirely different relationship with the things that limit you and set you back. It's like, I grew up super insecure. I grew up with 0 social skills. I grew up in an environment that honestly made me feel very unsettled and very unsafe and very unheard. And to be honest, every single day when I go to hit the post button, I hesitate every day, still 100%. But I have a different relationship with insecurity because every time that I hesitate, I go, hey, you know what? This is an old version of you speaking to you right now. Hey, this is an insecure version of you speaking right now. You can do it. I'm going to show you can. So it's about building a different relationship with your fears and insecurities, because insecurities and fears can be your number one guide. If I didn't have insecurity, if I didn't have fear, I don't think I'd love what I do so much because I wouldn't be challenged. If I was just completely content with my fucking life, I wouldn't have intrinsic challenges to overcome. But the fact that like I still have fear of judgment, the fact that I still have fear of rejection, the fact that I still have fears of putting myself out there is the reason why I challenge myself every day and have a goal every day. And I have a mission every single day. And I have purpose every single day is to build up the version of myself and to build up me. And so like, I think about that every single day, and it's about choosing to have a different relationship with the shit that you think holds you back. And the reality is it's your guide. What do you think is on the other side of insecurity, homie? What do you think is on the other side of fear, homie? Probably the best life you could ever dream of. But like, it comes down to changing the relationship that you have with things like fear and insecurity.
That's fucking powerful shit. I love that. And that whole, what you talked about when you spoke about the fear that you feel before you post and feeling that feeling every day, I resonate with that. And for me, it's different in the sense that it's not that I feel like, it's not like micro things that I do make me feel fear, but I will feel fear in general about finances, as an example. Like making a lot of money is great. And then you realize you got to pay a lot of taxes. So then I'll get this like overwhelming fear that I'm losing all my money to the government because of taxes. And then I'll start thinking like, holy fuck, like my tax bill is going to be so fucking big. And then I'll start like overthinking it. And then I'll start like getting in my head about it. And then I'll just like move through my day thinking about my taxes. And then I recognize that I'm doing it. And I view that as the very work that I must do in order to get to the next level. And so instead of me being like, oh my God, I have to pay so much tax, I'm like, I'm so fucking blessed that my business is at a place where like, that's my tax bill. Like, I'm so fucking grateful that I get to live this life where like I get to contribute to society on this level. And I'm absolutely certain that the universe has my back and that I know that I'm heading in the right direction and everything always works out for me. So I absolutely know that this is going to be another one of those situations that just works out for me and I have nothing to worry about. And I view these like thoughts and these limiting beliefs and these fears as I view them as opportunities. Like I don't view them as things that hold me back. I view them as opportunities. And anytime I get a negative thought that like comes into my consciousness, instead of me being like, oh my God, like I'm never going to make it. I take that thought and then I analyze it and I'm like, okay, this is what's going to be required in order for me to get to the next level. So I'm going to sit with this. I'm going to change my perspective because when you change the way that you look at things, the things that you look at change. And I'm going to grow through this instead of avoiding it. But I think what a lot of people do when it comes to their fears is they just avoid it. I'm afraid to invest in the mentor, so I'm not going to invest. I'm afraid to post on social media, so I'm not going to approach. I'm afraid of taking that leap of faith, so I'm not going to do it. Whereas like for me, I view that fear as like you have to go through it. You can't go around it. You can't dodge it. You can't pretend it doesn't exist. You have to approach it. You have to move through it. But again, it's like most people choose to avoid. I'm afraid to post on social media, so I'm not going to post. I'm afraid to start the business, so I'm not going to start. I'm afraid to reach out to the mentor, so I'm not going to reach out to the mentor. I'm afraid to start my fitness journey, so I'm not going to start my fitness journey. And it just, you have to work through it. And I think that in closing on this specific thought, like the reason I do that, the reason I push myself like that, and the reason that I view limiting beliefs like that is because I know that 99% of people are not going to do it.
100%.
I know that. I'm absolutely certain. So I know that by me making the decision that I'm going to work through every fear that comes my way and I'm going to find a way to navigate it, I'm going to challenge it, I'm going to overcome it, I know that I will get further than most people because most people just aren't willing to do that.
Boom. You bring such a good point to the table in saying that like, hey, like I could sit here and worry about finances. And I understand that. I know what it's like to be in that kind of mindset. And to be honest, when I was in that mindset, what do you think I just continued to guarantee that I was going to feel tomorrow?
100%.
If I was focused on things that were negative and I was focused on negatively associating shit that I've done in the past or negatively associating mistakes that I've made in the past, I'll absolutely guarantee that nothing's going to be no different in the future. But being a visionary, I'm going to set this ideal out in front of me that like, hey, this is the ideal life. This is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. And I'm going to chase it. Like I'm chasing the horizon and each day I'm going to walk. Maybe some days I'll run. And I might accomplish a few things, but it feels like the accomplishments actually make me feel worse because I'm still chasing this ideal that's always stretching out further in front of me. Welcome to business. Welcome to entrepreneurship. Yep. Welcome to being a visionary. Welcome to having goals. Like things are always going to stretch out and further of you. Like I think you talk about this often. It's like sometimes you have something on your vision board that you change because it's like, that's not what I want anymore. Cool. Great. You're evolving. You're growing. Right. But I think some people will set that ideal out in front of them and then they'll accomplish things along the way. But each accomplishment actually makes them feel worse because they're still so negatively associating everything that's happened to them rather than looking at everything in the past that's happened for them. You have two choices. Look at the horizon and look at how far away you are, or look back at the undeniable stack of fucking evidence that you can do it today. That's a choice. That is a pure choice. I could negatively associate everything that's happened to me in my past, or I could be like, you know what? That happened for me to get me here. Hey, you know what? I can learn this from that. Hey, you know what? I failed here so I could get here. Then all of a sudden you start stacking this proof higher than your limiting beliefs that you have to show you, hey, I can do this. But that is a choice. And that is part of doing the work, is actively going back and looking at, hey, I don't want negative associations with my past. I want positive associations with my past. I want positive meanings, because if I'm in that mindset and I'm positively associating everything that's happening to me every single day and also happening to my past, what am I going to guarantee moving forward? Positive outcomes. And it's not only that, like they're going to fall in my lap. Opportunities are going to fall right into my lap because I'm focused on the positive. The opportunities are not just like invisible to you right now. They don't just pop out magically. They were already there.
Yeah.
They're just waiting for you to see them once you get into that mindset, once you tap into that. And that's a choice, man. I think a lot of people go through this business journey and absolutely fucking hate it. I hated it for like 2 fucking years. I can say that. I can be honest about that. And then I had to start reassociating everything that it was. I had to start making a lot of fucking different decisions. And like now I'm in the game.
Mm.
Now I'm in the game and everything's fucking awesome. And the opportunities are just falling in my lap left and right. And life is fucking beautiful. And I'm so grateful for it. But it's
Mm.
like a practice. It's a practice. You being able to give yourself that affirmation right there. It's like it's a muscle. You need to be able to train that every single day. And so I genuinely take time in my weeks to reflect and share my wins. What are my biggest wins of the day? What are my biggest wins of the week? What are my biggest wins of the month? Hey, I go back and I tell my story and I open up and I speak my story, because it used to be where talking about my story is uncomfortable. Now I love speaking about it because
You're positively associated with it.
exactly.
Mm. You know what's cool? I
Mm.
fucking agree with everything you just said. That's fucking cool. And I also think that's the work. You know, people are always like, do the work. The fuck does the work mean? Do the work. What is the work? That's the work, bro.
Yeah.
That is the work. That you just defined what the work is. Like the work is like when I went back and I thought about my mom kicking me out when I was 8. And instead of me hating her and being so fucking angry that she kicked me out and abandoned me and left me alone, I flipped that perspective. And I'm like, the fact that my mom gave me the opportunity to learn how to be a man at 8 years old is exactly why I am the leader today. So thank you. The fact that I never met my dad until I was 26 forced me to learn how to be a man on my own. And I took those character traits of learning how to be a man on my own. And now I'm able to give to other people and pour into other people at a level that I don't think I'd be able to had I not gone through that adversity.
Boom.
So it's like, that's the work, is being able to look back on the past, reflect, and see these things that quote unquote happened to you as the very thing that transformed you into the person that you are right now. That's the first thing. Now, the second thing is like taking that perspective into this moment and recognizing when you are going through a hard time right now, and you might be listening to this podcast and it might be hard for you right now. I get it. When you're going through a hard time right now, it's if you look back and you see all the things that quote unquote happened to you, and then you look at your life right now and you say to yourself, if these things were happening for me so that I could become the person that I'm supposed to become, then if this is the goal that I'd like to reach, the universe, the God, the fucking divine, whatever your belief is giving me this adversity right now so that I can learn the lesson that I'm supposed to be learned, so I can become the person that I'm supposed to become. And then it gets beautiful, because anything that you go through is a blessing, right? If I'm faced with adversity and I've got something in front of me that's like supposedly a challenge, this thing is actually the challenge that I'm supposed to overcome to get me closer to my goals. Thank you. Sometimes I get blessings. I actually often get blessings. I'll take some more of those. And when I get blessings, I'm like, thank you, universe. This is just affirmation that I'm on the right path and you're giving me everything I'm supposed to get in order to become the person I'm supposed to become. And at that point, when you can get yourself to that level, then everything is a win. Because when you get adversity, you say thank you so that you can learn. And when you get a blessing, you say thank you so you get more. Baby, come on. Come on, son.
You know what? You know what the most important part of that is? This is the third or fourth step. I don't know if you're on third or four now. The third step to that is being able to take those blessings and being able to take those lessons and being able to take all of that and then give it away. 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 And then when you see somebody change their life with what you've gone through and you get that affirmation, because it's like, God damn, there's purpose behind my struggles. There's purpose behind the shit that I've gone through. You win. You win. You win. You literally win every fucking day, because now you're connected to a mission greater than yourself that you get to contribute to every fucking day. And that's what gets you up in the morning. And that's what makes you feel alive. And when you have a shit day, what saves you? Contributing more. Boom. That's the game. And that's why I love this shit, baby.
Everything that we touch turns to gold.
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
I love that.
I'm a firm believer everybody's put on this planet to be some kind of leader at some capacity. It's like you go through what you go through to gain the wisdom to give to the world and make it a better place. And man, does it feel good when you get to make the world a better place? Because then you look like, then you walk through every day knowing who you are, knowing your purpose, knowing why you're here. That's it. That's it, man. Everybody's here. Everybody's here to do that. Everybody's here to fail. Everybody's here to fuck up. Everybody's here to get fucked up. so you have something to give and you have value to give to people.
Yeah, dude, that's so fucking cool. That idea of contribution, I had, it just sparked this thought in me. So I'm doing this program at my gym, and it's called Young and Ambitious. So what I'm doing is I'm taking like 10 kids that are 14 to 18 years old through a 12-week mentorship program, taking them through workouts. And then after the workout, I sit down and I talk about success in life for like an hour. And at the end of the program, we're giving away a $10,000 scholarship to the person that shows up with the most work ethic and the most leadership skills and just shows the biggest transformation mentally, physically, and emotionally. So I was doing this yesterday, and I remember there was a guy that came that's kind of been like helping us out with the program, like on the back end with logistics. And he came and I basically did a Q&A with the kids. And I was like, instead of me talking at you, I want to talk with you. I want you to tell me your goals, tell me what you're struggling with, and let's have a conversation and like overcome it. So we did that for an hour. And then at the end, I just asked all the kids, I was like, okay, does anybody have any more questions? And Kyle actually might be listening to this. Kyle pipes up and he's like, I got a question. And I was like, okay. He's like, why are you doing this? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you're a self-made millionaire. You and Cole are self-made millionaires. You're not getting paid a single dime to be here. You're just pouring into these kids for hours of the day when you could be making money. He's like, why are you doing this? And I thought about it. Nobody had asked me that question up to this point. And then I like answered and I said, because I wish somebody would have done this for me when I was 17. And so now I get to be that guy that I wish I had when I was a kid. And dude, that's why I show up every day and do the shit that I do every fucking day. Because when I first started my online fitness business, I didn't have any resources. I had Google and my brain. That's it. That's all I had. Google and my brain.
Yeah.
And so knowing that like I've become a resource for people to come to, and regardless of whether or not you're paying me, like I know you get value from my content, like that to me every fucking day is the coolest thing in the fucking world. And then getting to see the impact that like some of my coaching has on some of my students' lives. And some of my students are literally watching this right now in the fucking comments. Drop some fire if you're here right now. Not to mention even looking at like you're fucking changing the world. Got like 100 clients that are fucking with you hard. You like not only that, but like Caroline's life, like you and Caroline are building a beautiful life together now. RJ, coach on your team, and just recognizing that like the reason that, you know, I feel like everything that I went through up to this point was to bring me to this point where I get to contribute and give back. Bro, that's a fucking beautiful feeling.
I love that he asked you that question.
So did I.
I love that that was your answer. Because that low key got me emotional. Because like, yeah, you know, there's a lot of moments that I can look back to myself and be like, wow, like that version of Chad needed 26-year-old Chad really, really bad. But the really cool part is that like I'm here for him every day, you know? And so like, while there is this, you know, maybe this core desire to, I want to talk about this because I think there's this core desire to create a lot of success and, you know, maybe build this big dream and this big mission. And I'll be honest, I've been wrapped up in really saying it's for the vision, it's for the mission, it's for the clients, it's for the community, it's for everything but me. I've been there. And to be honest, like I thought that that was serving me, but it actually wasn't. Like there was a time that I actually used the business to just really disassociate from the negativity that I had towards myself and would speak towards myself and would feel towards myself when by myself. So it was very hard for me to sit with myself at all. And I would find as many things as I could possibly do in my business to avoid feeling through those things. And real shit, I literally made a reel about this yesterday, so I don't give a fuck. I could open up about it. Caroline asked me, what's the realest thing you ever told me? Get your shit together, I'm leaving. That woke me the fuck up because I literally made my entire life into the business because I was too afraid to deal with the negativity that I had towards myself. And when you have a lot of negativity and hatred towards yourself, how do you think you treat other people? Not very well. I wasn't a fit leader. People left my team and I take full accountability for that. There's nothing they did. I wasn't a fit leader. I wasn't a fit partner. And as much as you want to sit here and be like, the business is everything. The money is everything. Building this is everything. It's for the clients. It's for the community. It's not for me. It's not for me. Motherfucker, it is also for you because this business that you're trying to build is personal development with a fucking paycheck. And if you're unwilling to do the personal development and you're unwilling to sit with yourself and become the leader that you need to be for yourself, you're not going to be fit to lead other people. You're not going to be fit to lead your clients. You're not going to be fit to build a business. And that was really the biggest lesson that I've learned in entrepreneurship, period. Right there. It's the biggest lesson that I've learned. And now I have this beautiful harmony of as much as it is for the vision and for the mission, it's also for having an incredible home life. It's also for one day I'm going to be a father and I want to be a kick-ass father. And I want to have resources to be a great father and be able to do the things for my future kid that maybe I didn't get to experience before, or that I really want to give even a younger version of myself. And so it's this beautiful harmony of motive of like, yeah, I have this mission that I want to contribute to, but also I really want to contribute to a younger version of myself or a future family and a future kid. I really want to contribute to Caroline. I really want to contribute to RJ. I really want to also contribute to myself. Like real shit. Every single day, I think about hitting the push button start on a V8 muscle car with a 6-speed manual. And little Chad wants that back. Little Chad wants that. And I literally talked about it last night. I watched the video. Some dude, just 10-minute video, dude driving it. That motivates me. So it's important to have this beautiful harmony of what you want and desire and what fulfills your cup, but also something to really contribute to. You can't have too many eggs in the basket of making it all about personal. You can't have too many eggs in the basket of making it all about the business. You have to dance in the middle and build a good relationship with those wants and desires. Because at one point, I thought it was really, really selfish to have wants and desires because I had to pour into the business. But no, that's not it. Right. So learning that harmony probably requires you to get kicked in the dick a couple times. That's the beauty of entrepreneurship, baby.
So we could spin off for at least another hour on this, but I know you got to wrap up in 10 minutes. So we're going to summarize. If you're listening to this podcast right now, I just want you to know Chad's a fucking G. All right. And if you've been thinking about wishing you could join somebody else's team and you just want to be a part of a team, this is me putting my stamp of approval on Chad and letting you guys know that, like, if you're going to join a team and you're a fucking hungry coach that's willing to put in the work, that's experienced, that knows what the fuck they're talking about, and you want to join a team, you should join Chad's. So I want you to just put out a message really quick to potentially your next coach. And I want you to speak into that person, give them a message that they would resonate with the person that you're trying to speak to.
Just be a good person. It's the number one qualification. That's it. I dropped out of school. I don't have certifications. I don't have a 5-year education the same way Caroline does as a registered dietitian. I'm not a CSCS like RJ. I don't have a bachelor's of exercise science like RJ. I just want to lead. I just want to contribute. I just want to help people. Most importantly, though, like, along with being a good person, walk the walk. Genuinely walk the walk. There's so many coaches that come to Beyond Built to actually work as clients with Beyond Built because there's like, I'm not practicing what I preach. I'm not walking the walk right now. And to be honest, the energy in my business isn't where it needs to be right now because I'm not being the person I'm supposed to be. And I need some leadership, and I need some mentorship, and I need some accountability. And there is a high level of self-accountability that is required to really coach at a high level. And if I can tell anybody anything, it's like, if you can really build a stellar relationship with accountability with yourself, meaning that you love mentorship, you love being coached, you love to learn, you love experiencing things, you love failing, you love challenging yourself more and more to learn more lessons so you can pour that more into people that you get to help. But most importantly, like, your goal is to be an aspirational leader, someone that people look to and be like, you know what? I want to live life like you. And that's something that gets you going. And that's something that you want to have. And that's the impact that you want to have on this world. You might be a really good fit for this program. You might be a really good fit to coach here. And more than anything, we look for those leadership qualities because I think Caroline and RJ, they can educate and mentor the absolute shit out of you. Right. But man, if you really care for your clients and you're willing to give them everything you have every single day, you're Beyond Built.
Chad Morgan, everybody.
Boom.
Chad Morgan. All right, bro. Where do they find you? If my audience wants to kind of fucking follow your journey, get inspired by you, motivational, maybe it's your podcast or your Instagram. Where are you most active right now?
Yeah. Chad Morgan Fit on Instagram. To be honest, though, more than anything, I actually want to shout out my podcast, the Beyond Built podcast, because I had to overcome a lot of limiting beliefs to like get my podcast platform back to where it's been lately, because I want to open up and share vulnerably and way more transparently, way more honestly about my journey as a whole. So the podcast, I'm doing that. And my YouTube, Chad Morgan, same thing. Like, I'm planning to sit down and talk about my leadership journey, my entrepreneurship journey, my business growth journey, just as much as my fitness journey, because I want to really tap into like everything that I am and share that with the world. And so I'm really pouring into podcasts and YouTube more than any other platform this year. And Instagram is just going to get the carryover from that. I really want those platforms to grow this year, and I'm making that my mission. So yeah.
Beyond Built podcast. If you're listening to my podcast and you got value from today, go to Beyond Built podcast. And then his YouTube is Chad Morgan. Chad, I love you so much. I hope you guys have the best day of your entire lives. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys in the next motherfucking episode. Peace. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Hopefully you got some value. If you did, and you want to learn more about how me and my team can help you scale your online fitness business to $10,000 a month, DM me 10K on Instagram at TheRealBrianMark for more information, and I'll reach out to you to see if I can help you grow an online coaching business.